To understand what set the Three Keatons apart in a turn-of-the-century entertainment market glutted with child stars and family acts, it's instructive to look at the intense response Buster engendered in turn-of-the-century audiences. "Keep your eye on the kid," Joe instructed the vaudeville world in an advertising tagline that ran through the 1901 season. But when you read through contemporary coverage of the Three Keatons, the admonition seems superfluous. One gets the sense that, when Buster was on stage, audiences had their work cut out for them keeping an eye on anything else. As a fellow performer wrote in the autograph book Buster carried with him for other acts on the bill to sign, he was the locomotive of juveniles, the fastest rising child star on the vaudeville circuit. During Christmas week of 1900, when he would have just turned 5 and had been a part of the act for around 2 months, Buster is mentioned only as assisting in his parents' act at the Grand Opera House in Nashville. Exactly 6 months later, in June 1901, the Atlanta Constitution identifies him as the star of the Keaton aggregation of 3. By October of that same year, on his first tour of the Western Orpheum Theater circuit, the newly 6-year-old Buster, the tiny comedian who is the only member of the Keaton combination mentioned by name, is said by the San Francisco Call to live up to his name as a laugh maker, suggesting that, less than a year into his stage career, Buster's reputation from the East Coast already preceded him on the West. Even a cursory glance through mentions of Buster in the turn-of-the-century press makes one thing clear. He shot to the top ranks of a crowded field with astonishing speed. In January 1902, just over a year past his stage debut, the Richmond, Virginia Times placed the 6-year-old Buster at the top of the class of youngsters seen at the Bijou, and there have been some of the best at the popular Broad Street House. A few weeks later, the Three Keatons were on the bill at Tony Pastor's, one of New York's premier vaudeville venues, though Pastor, himself a former child prodigy, preferred to call it a variety theater, mocking the term vaudeville as sissy and Frenchified. By September of that year, the Scranton Republican noted that the Three Keatons, who are the top liners in the New York vaudeville houses, have created much merriment this week at Dixie's Theater. Buster is acknowledged to be the brightest young acrobat on the stage today, and the act of the Keatons is one that provides constant mirth.